Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday show. I am back after a bit of break as well, due to the fact as well, and also I apologies for everyone who watched the championship review last Sunday. I unfortunately couldn't make it on the last minute due to personal issues, which I am going to address right now, and it was due to a close friend of mine that who I used to know quite well, Fee, who I when I first moved to Edinburgh when I was at number 6. She, was, who I first met during the time, and unfortunately, she suddenly passed away last week, Saturday evening, during the time after she was diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. So, yeah, and sometimes you feel like when you want to speak to, when you're not spoke to someone for a while, you want to make sure they're okay. But unfortunately, she passed away. So, this is a tribute to her. So, I'd like to thank everyone for understanding, and I'd like to thank Stefan and everyone who covered the show last weekend. I appreciate that as well. So, but I am back. I'm trying to keep my head up above above the water and just get through this week as the best as I can do. But I say good morning to Stefan. Stefan, good morning to you. How you doing?
Morning, Kel. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Perfect. Thank you for covering the championship with you again. I know we'll got more to discuss over this week
Yeah.
as well, which I know we'll talk about. You will talk about the championship stuff tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock with Michael and Annie as well. So we'll be looking forward to that as well. But let's get with the fixtures for today as well and look at the teams that played today. We have only one game in the Scottish Premiership being postponed as well, which is Dundee
And
United.
Scottish League One as well now.
We will get more to that as well too. So let's get the screen up and get the fixtures up for today as well, for this weekend's fixtures as well. So in the Premier League, we've got the 12:30 kickoff between West Ham and Sunderland. 3 o'clock, it's a huge game for both teams. Burnley against Tottenham Hotspur at 3 o'clock. Brighton go away to Craven Cottage to face Fulham. Matt Gray could make his debut today in Man City's home game against the Wolves as well. And then it's a 5:30 kickoff between AFC Bournemouth against Liverpool. And in the Scottish Premiership, only 3 games on today. Aberdeen against Livingston at 3 o'clock. Dundee and St Mirren has been being postponed in the Scottish Premiership. Falkirk against Hibs at 3 o'clock, Motherwell against Kilmarnock as well. In the Championship, 2 games in the 12:30 kickoff. Two huge teams in the top half are going against each other. Middlesbrough against Preston North End. Millwall there in the South London derby against Charlton Athletic. It's a huge game at 12 o'clock. 12:30. Sorry. All the games at 3 o'clock. Birmingham City at home to Stoke City. Watford travel up to Lancashire to face Blackburn Rovers. Bristol City, they've had a bit of a tough time of players on been going. They get Sheffield Wednesday. Swansea City away at MK State to face Hull City. Leicester, they're at home to Oxford United. Stephens Wrexham, they go away down to West London to face QPR. And then Sheffield United, they're home to Ipswich Town, which is one of the big games at 3 o'clock today. One game in the Women's Super League, Chelsea against Arsenal at 12:30. And in League One, some couple of huge games today. Cardiff City against Stockport County is one of the 3 12:30 kickoffs. And then it's the West Yorkshire derby between Huddersfield Town against Bradford City. Bradford did win the first of the fixture this season as well. And then Huddersfield Town's got the new manager under Liam Manning, the former Bristol City and Norwich manager. He's now in his first game against a huge team against Bradford City as well. Plymouth Argyle against Luton Town at 12:30 as well. And then we've got other games around 3 o'clock. From Blackpool to Northampton Town, Leighton away at Bolton Wanderers, Doncaster Rovers against Wigan Athletic, Exeter go away to Port Vale, Reading at home to Barnsley, Rotherham United against AFC Wimbledon, Stevenage against Mansfield Town, and Wycombe Wanderers against Peterborough United. And only 2 games in League Two kicking off today. Barnet, they're home to Old Athletic. Crewe Alexandra go down to Nottingham to face Notts County. Barrow home to Crawley Town as well. Bromley against Swindon Town. Tranmere away at Cambridge United. I'll just be right back. Steffi, can you do the fixtures? I've got a daily order I need to deal with from the post match.
Yes, we were at Cambridge United, weren't we? I just need to find it on the screen. So we've got there we are. Cheltenham Town versus Grimsby Town at 3 o'clock. Colchester United versus Fleetwood Town. Harrogate Town versus Gillingham. Milton Keynes Dons versus Shrewsbury Town. Newport County versus Chesterfield. Salford City versus Bristol Rovers, and Warsaw versus Accrington Stanley at 3 o'clock in English League Two.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stefan. We're going to the National League. Thank you. So only 3 games. World Cup 3 games are postponed in the National League. Chris, I know you've been rushing to also hope you get better, mate.
Yeah,
Chris Wells.
it was soon, Chris.
I know, but his team Carolina game away
Postponed.
it's been postponed as well. Gateshead also game gets Wolston is also postponed with alongside working against Yeovil Town as well. And so these are the games that are only that's still playing in the National League today. Altrincham gets Boreham Wood as well. Boston United gets Southend United. Hartlepool go away to Brackley Town. Eastlake home to Halifax Town. Morecambe gets Solihull Moors. Truro City go away up to Lancashire to face Rochdale. Tamworth against Sutton United. York City at home to Braintree Town. And it's a 5-50 kick between two of the former Football League teams. Scunthorpe United against Forest Green Rovers in the Scottish Championship. Still, all games are still played unless stated. Adrionians against Ross County at 3 o'clock. A United go away to Pat Thistle. Rainfall's home to Queen's Park, and then Dunfermline Athletic who beat Hibs last week in the Scottish Cup. They go away up to Perth to face St Johnstone.
That'll be a cracker.
Absolutely.
Neil versus Simo Valakari. That'll be an absolute cracker in the championship.
Absolutely as well. One game in the Scottish Scottish League One has been postponed. Montrose's game against Peter has been postponed. So these are the other games that still will be kicked off unless stated. East 5 at home against Queen in the South. Hamilton Academical. Hamilton are still worried about their future if they will still have a club by the end of the season. They're at home to Cove Rangers. Invi Califiso, who lost to Spartans last week in the Scottish Cup, they got away to Alloa to Alloa Athletic, and it's Kelty Hearts against Stenhousemuir at 5:30 as well. Goal games in Scottish League 2 will still be played today. Clyde at home to Spartans, Elgin City go away to Dumbarton, East Kilbride against Stranraer, Edinburgh City at home against Adden Athletic, Forfar Athletic against Sturby Albion. And let's look at all the rest of the games across the European leagues. 8 o'clock tonight in the Spanish La Liga, Villarreal against Real Madrid. And then it is Sevilla against Athletic Bilbao at 5:30. Valencia against Espanyol at 3:15, and then Real Vallecano against Osasuna in the German Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen at home to Werder Bremen at 2:30, alongside Bayern Munich, who scored a lot of goals the other week as well. They get Augsburg as well. Hoffenheim go away to Eintracht Frankfurt. Heidenheim gets RB Leipzig. Mainz against Wolfsburg. A 5:30 game in Bundesliga. Union Berlin against Borussia Dortmund. 3 games in Serie A happening today. Como against Torino. Calgary go away to Fiorentina. And the 7:45 kickoff is between Lecce against Lazio as well. In Dutch Eredivisie, Ajax at home to Volvo. PSV gets NC Breda at 20 against Elche. And then in the league in France as well, Rennes at home to Lorient. Monaco go away to Le Havre, and Marseille against Lens as well. Yeah, and then let's look at Sunday's games. We've got some key games on Sunday, the one big game in the Premier League as well. 4 games across the Premier League. We've got Brentford against Nottingham Forest as well. We got Crystal Palace against Chelsea at 2 o'clock as well. Aston Villa go away to Newcastle. It's a big game at 4:30 between Arsenal against Manchester United, and then one huge game in the Scottish Premiership. Hearts at home to Celtic at 3 o'clock. Rangers against Dundee at 3 p.m. as well. One game in the Championship is the South Coast Derby between Portsmouth against Southampton. That's going to be a huge game, huge game as well. And also in the Women's Super League, all games kick off at 11:55, including Aston Villa against Manchester United and Liverpool against Spurs as well. And also in the Scottish SPFL 1 as well, Hibs against Hampton Academical, Hearts against Paris. And then this big game between the Glasgow Derby between Glasgow City against Rangers as well. In the La Liga on Sunday tomorrow, Mallorca go away to Atletico Madrid. Barcelona against Real Oviedo, and then the 8 o'clock kickoff is between Alves and Real Betis, and the game at 5:30 is Real Sociedad against Celta Vigo. 2 games in the German Bundesliga: Mönchengladbach against Stuttgart, Freiburg against SC Cologne. There's a big 2 huge games tomorrow in Serie A: the 5 o'clock game between Juventus against Napoli, and then Roma against AC Milan at 7:45 tomorrow as well. And also in Ligue 1 as well. Metz go away to Metz home to Lyon, Paris SC against Angers, and then Strasbourg away to Lille as well. And then on Monday night, only 1 game in the Premier League. It's a big game between Everton and against Leeds United. And then Monday night football, it is also Norwich City against Coventry City as well. And then couple games in the European La Liga: Girona against Getafe and Hellas Verona against Udinese as well. So let's say good morning to Reese. We'll get him on the screen as well. Get him on the stream as well. Good morning, Reese.
Morning, Reese.
All right.
How you doing today?
I'm fine, Ty.
Good. Well, let's get off with the team news that's happening at London Stadium in an hour and a half time. Only 1 change for each side as well. No Lucas Paqueta. He's not in the squad after he's been reported after at least 2 clubs in Brazil. One of it has been Flamengo, who are prepared to £50 million. So West Ham are unchanged in their fixture. So Paqueta is not in the squad. But there is 1 change for Sunderland. Granit Xhaka has been ruled out after he went off with an injured ankle in last week's match against Crystal Palace. So it will be Maeda replacing him in the start 11 at the moment. So the team news, West Ham unchanged. Allo and Net, Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Torbido and Freddie Scales in the back 4, Jai Bowen, Thomas Suchet, Manchester Fernandez, and Somerville in the midfield, and Pablo playing just behind Tati Casillas as well. And for Sunderland, Robert Roos is still in goal. Mukwele, Ballard, Alderete, and Renedo in the back 4. Trey Hume and Sadiki, Lefe, and Mundo in the midfield 4. That might be a defense midfield 2. We don't know yet. And then Maeda and Bobby up front with the 2. So this could be a 4-4-2, which could change to a 4-2-3-1 as well. Isidore is on the bench with DR as well. But before we get onto Crystal Palace, I do want to talk about what happened last Sunday with the AFCON final. Listen, we have to get into this. Listen, this was so controversial between, the huge final between Senegal against Morocco. And then let's say it was a tight game. Let's get this out of the way. But coming towards the end of the second half, Senegal took the lead, and that goal was ruled out by VAR as well for a push that was not a push. And also, when another VAR controversy, when Morocco was given a penalty, and then all hell breaks loose. The Senegalese, those huge altercations with the Senegalese, with both sides, both the players, the coaches, staff, and also the fans. This was a bit of a disgrace for African football.
Yeah.
I hate this as a this was a disgrace. So I just want to get your opinion on this and what you guys saw lead up with the Senegalese national team boycotting off the pitch.
Well, we were live during the championship show, and we were getting Annie's reactions because he had it on in the background. And Annie's face told it all. So as soon as we ended the championship show, I went on to E4+1 to rewatch the scenes. And I couldn't believe it. All over a penalty. Yes, it looked like a penalty, but it probably wasn't, because I'll tell you for why. I don't think African referees have the strongest mentality when it comes to being overwhelmed by federations and supporters. And that was quite clear to see in the final, especially those hilarious 10-20 minute scenes. I mean, yeah, all right, and when to VAR, they gave a penalty, but then, as you said, Carl, all hell broke loose, and the federations got involved, the fans were attacking each other, the referees were just being referees. And that's me being polite. I could think of other words to use, but it is a family show and it is just after 10 to 12 in the afternoon, so can't use those kind
That's
of
not going to
words.
stop me in 5 minutes.
But, no, it won't stop you, Reese. I'm just giving the polite version before you give
The X-rated version. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting to hear.
So I just think those scenes were appalling, and to come out the next day and say we're going to lay down the letter of the law as to who's found guilty and discipline them all, that should have happened during the final, I'm afraid, because taking your players off for 10, 15 minutes because of a decision, no, just play the final. And then you never know what happens. But in saying that, after all that controversy, when the penalty was taken, it was absolutely rotten, by the way. It was a rank penalty. It was one of the rankest ones I've seen in my life. He just basically passed it back to Mendy in the goal. And then basically, almost straight from the kick-off in extra time, Senegal scored that wonder goal to win the final, marred in controversy.
Listen, Reese, I'm gonna give you your reaction to it, and I know you're gonna say, because I think I will come back in once you're done with this, because I think you got a lot to say in this.
Yep. So first of all, here's a reminder for Liverpool fans of which team owns your club. So I thought I would just bring this out, fresh from Thailand.
Let's get that on the big screen there. Just
one of my new shirts for Thailand Day, so bit of fun. Champions League badge in gold.
You got the caca. I thought you did. Yeah.
Caca.
The season after shirt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not the only shirts I've got, gents. I'll show these now.
Well, Reese is being distracted of showing his shirt. So he's
Oh yeah.
Oh, get lost. Go away. Please, just go. Yeah.
Really?
Get that name out of the way. That name's dead to me.
I know. Completes the set as well for those shirts. I've got those now, but then the last one, Jen.
He's German one.
He's German. He got his German. Yeah.
I'm World Cup ready, boys.
You definitely are ready.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We all know who this is back
so
on.
I mean, I still want Scotland to do well, but like quite frankly, everybody knows like I'm a Germany fan. I always have been. That's never going to change. Okay, so let's go through this because I watched it and I immediately took to Twitter in rage. So if anyone wants to have a look at my Twitter from AFCON final, you have my permission.
Pop your hand on the commentary so we can see it.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, we'll share. Yeah, we'll share it up because that would be good.
All right, cool. Do you want me to bring up the tweets I brought up, or would you rather me just put my Twitter handle in and you can do it?
Well, both, but yeah, bring your tweets up.
Sure.
We'd be happy to see it.
Yeah, cool.
We should see it, so we'll get everyone's reaction to it.
I lost the plot when it came to AFCON early. I got really angry because I could tell exactly what this was all about.
Like nobody knew what to do in that instance either. They were just sitting dumbfounded in the studio. They had no clue what was going on. The police were stopping the reporters getting down to the pitch side. Everything was just crazy.
Well, yeah. I'll start. So, the referee John Jackson Nadala gave this in the 90th minute after he was advised by the VAR of El Hadji Malik's Doof's challenge on Brahim Diaz. Yeah, and put the quote, so challenge, and then all the seats break hell loose. The head coach of the Senegal, Papatio, was incensed. He ushered his team off the field, And it took one former Liverpool player, Sadio Mane, who stayed on the pitch and had to encourage his team to get back on. We don't give a lot of credit. We know with Mane's antics in the last couple of years he had at Liverpool and Bayern Munich. I can't give him credit for actually getting the squad back out. So
well, considering he said that was going to be his final ever AFCON appearance, he's going to retire from AFCON.
Aye, Reece has throws it up, so we should get him back on anyway. So yeah, but, it just was a disgrace. It's such a disgrace at all. It just for me,
for African football as a whole, for that confederation, they've got to be so embarrassed. We've got to take a long, hard look in the mirror so that nothing like this can ever happen again.
Yeah, I agree. I think with CAF, they've got a lot of now. It's going to be a lot of how do we screw this up big time? Because before the final, the Senegal national team complained about the security, the lack of security before the game, and then
every team was saying that Morocco's getting refereeing decisions because they're the home team, they're the home nation.
Yeah. That was something I thought maybe they have a bit of a point, and like I said, it's just the 17 minutes we had to wait for the decision.
That was ridiculous.
17 minutes with all that happening, and just like I said, I think only the Senegal fans only got like 4,000 of the 55,000 tickets allocated to them. So that just shows you there was a bit of an imbalance in that one.
I mean, when you look at it like this, AFCON, I suppose, is Africa's version of the Euros, right? Because it's all of Africa competing against each other. Now, granted, the trophy doesn't look that big, you can just lift it with one hand, but still. But you think in a major final, to have something like that go off, CAF as a confederation, like I said there, we need to look at themselves, but we also need to look who they're putting in charge of a final, because I think when all hell broke loose, that referee lost total control of what was going on around him. He lost all control. I don't think he was the strongest referee in the tournament, certainly to referee a final.
No.
I actually don't think that CAF's referees are fairly strong in general, to be honest, because of the little group stage action I saw of AFCON, and I couldn't really watch the final either because I was on with Michael and Annie, but the little bit of AFCON I did see, the referees are not up to European or FIFA standards. You can clearly see that.
Yeah, you can clearly see that from it. Especially he was pre-selected for the last World Cup, but he was not included in the final list. So he's only refereed a FIFA Under-20 World Cup, only 2 games. But I think this was his debut. I think this was his debut in the AFCON nation. It was. And that just shows you he's participated for AFCON nations, but this was his first selected, proper, because he's only 38. The referee's only 38, and he's been listed on FIFA listed for since 2013. But let's get Reese's tweet up now. So yeah, host nations tick, talented players tick, good football tick, referees in the back pockets tick tick tick, trophy won at home in Morocco, free crosses, congratulations goal tick. I think
I'm gonna be straight up, like that game was rigged. Like it's been all tournament. Like I've had people from Africa across the globe that I actually talked to at work literally telling me, if you're watching the AFCON, pay close attention to Morocco games.
Yes.
I was like, okay, why? And it was like, oh, they play good football. I was like, I know they do. And they're like, but pay close attention to decisions in the game. I was like, right.
Yeah.
And I was like, makes sense because it's 50 years since they've last won an African Cup of Nations. They've not been the final since Cameroon beat them in 2009.
Yeah.
So understandable there's going to be a little bit of dubious behaviour. But the final, it was never a penalty.
No.
Like, let's be real, like, he's at fault. Like, before anyone says, oh, it's just gonna be a Morocco bashing, it's not. The Senegal player did have his arms around the back and the neck of Brahim Diaz.
Yeah.
However, if you go back and watch, he did not pull him to the ground.
No.
He was
Diaz
actually
fell
he was like
down. Yeah.
he was
With his
fucking
own body weight.
he was fucking hugging him. Like I was actually wondering if he was actually trying to slip him a few digits in the wrong direction, because the way he was holding him, it was a little bit too relaxed.
Yeah.
But Diaz fell down.
The first goal for Senegal as well seemed pretty legit to me.
It's the same thing. Like I put up a comment or something to
Very
Finn,
legit to me. I wouldn't have ruled that out for that. No way.
Hakimi actually fell. I think that, you know, I think when Hakimi fell to the ground, it wasn't even a free kick. The goal should not be ruled out.
Yeah. If you're going to give a penalty, which is fine. If you're going to give a penalty, which is fine, then you've got to give the goal. At that point, there's no cheating. It's a fair play. You can't give a soft. You cannot give. You can't rule a goal out for a soft free kick to then give a penalty for a soft foul. It's not logical. So that's how you knew that the game was on. I actually think that the Senegal players did the right thing. I would have walked off as well. I think they were all right to. They should never have came back on, regardless. Give the title to Morocco at that point, because then it would have been a paper victory.
Yeah.
So nobody would have cared if Morocco had won it.
No,
really, but I suppose for the spectacle of AFCON and for the prestigious of the tournament.
Oh, it was already gone. AFCON lost all its respect.
Oh yeah, no, but for it to end with a paper victory, the organisers would be thinking, what the actual beep beep beep.
What the hell? Yeah, what the actual hell is? Yeah.
And I think
they allowed it to happen.
I think that's why they persisted in playing the final out even after the 10, 15 minutes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl. John Obi Mikel is Nigerian?
Yes.
Yes.
And yet he's the only person on that bloody panel that spoke sense.
He did. He was.
He basically, he literally exactly what I said. You cannot give you cannot give a goal away for a soft free kick, and you can't give this penalty for the same reason. He's like, you can tell by the dubious decisions that this is dubious. Yeah. And it's no surprise that the minute he said that, it's no surprise that the minute he said these decisions are dubious, they put the cameras on the Moroccan head coach.
They did,
which is a damn shame. It's a damn shame because it's not his fault.
But it makes you wonder.
It's nothing to do with him.
If CAF referees are taking bribes from national teams, associations, whatever, it must be a huge bribe for them to give.
Yeah, but it might come from. But here's the thing: it might come from the above the federation, because Morocco still has a king, so it's a bit of a hybrid range. And there was a lot. So before the tournament started, there was a lot of protest between the Gen Z because of the lack of, the cost of living standards, which has been huge because Morocco's have built some brand new stadiums, right? So there's been complaints about that, and I think in a way, and this is what happened, because there was rumors after the post-match for Prince Moulay Rashid of Morocco. There was rumors that he did not want to give the trophy. That's what I've been told, that he did not want to give the trophy to Koulibaly. So there was rumors about that, but the no official support the claim. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose in the press conference when I feel sorry for regarding the Moroccan head coach, because a lot of Moroccan journalists, and there was some bias, who said you should be fired and stuff. I'm like, this has nothing to do with him. This has nothing to do with him. And he came out and called him out. And then Papatia brings a young girl in. I don't know if it was his daughter. And then all this the Moroccan journalists all boycott, walked on, and all hell breaks loose in the press conference. They will fight each other. So I'm just like, How
I
did it?
seen some of the comments. There was actually some journalists that were trying to ask, "Is that your daughter? Is that someone that you've
Yeah,
brought in to white people?" And then I saw someone was actually you can actually go and hear it before they edited the footage. There's actually someone in there in English translation. The question is that your wife?
whoa,
Implying that this person is a pedophile. And I'm like, he's clearly not. He's brought this kid in to piss off the Moroccans. It's all heart jubilation. This is a win for the country because we've earned our way to the final. We've had the most amount of players score goals throughout the tournament. We're the most effective team in front of goal against the team that's the host nation, the country that is definitely deserved to be favourites to win the whole thing. Because let's be real, Morocco they don't just have good players, they've got amazing players. They were brilliant at the World Cup, despite some dubious play again at the World Cup. There was
semis.
Exactly, but you cannot imply because someone is, to be fair, using a kid as a weapon in this way is still wrong. But he's not a paedophile. I mean, if it was, you would know quickly. Like, you would tell by the behavior. This was just simply they're using a child to wind up the Moroccan fans because look, our fans broke your fans. Yeah. And that's what happened to Morocco. I tell you another thing as well, and a friend of mine actually replied to my post about it because I spoke about the penalty. I don't think Brahim Diaz actually intended to score. I
thought as well.
Yeah. I think he took the Panenka.
I think he took it back to him.
Yeah, I think he took. I thought he was going to go for the Panenka as a cheap way to win it at the final whistle, and then actually I went back and rewatched after my friend was like, "Nah, you can tell he's done that to make this game fair."
Yeah,
he's made himself public enemy number one by playing fair. So the question is fair play still important in a situation like this, or would you go for glory? I know there's times, if it was me in a World Cup final and it was Scotland in the World Cup final and it was against England, I know what I'm doing. Let's be real.
Yeah, we'd go for glory, man.
I'm going for glory.
It just begs to differ, lads. If this happened in the Euros or the World Cup, the whole situation would be dealt with within them by the internal powers of FIFA, whoever.
I disagree with that. I disagree. Look how long it took them just to determine that Chiellini, rightfully so, was not a red card against Saka. Come on, like that. And I know Carl might argue with that. It was never a red card for Chiellini, and it was right that it was a yellow. But look how long it took to fucking book him.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one. So, yeah, I'm not going to argue that one, Reese, as well, to be honest with you. And yeah, we lost recent game, you know.
It just shows the state of world football in lesser countries, let's just say, isn't up to standards that other confederations should be.
No, I clearly understand that, but you know, because Africa's got the second biggest pop, you know, because of the countries there.
Yeah,
it's the second. I think it's after Europe. It's the second biggest. Most has got the most continent. It's the biggest continent. And I just, to this factor, I just feel like why cannot CAF cannot even run the you know, because there's a lot of been controversies with CAF for over decades, right? When the Togo national team, after the terrorist attack happened to them back in 2010, for example,
I remember that.
They banned the Togo team because they refused to play. That was not their fault, and then he restated them. So there's no clear-cut communication, and this has been the problem since then. And I think it's gone all the way back there's always controversy. When I think it was years ago, I think it was one of the referees blew the whistle 2 minutes before the end of the game, before it was 90 minutes. I'm like, how can you know? And then all of a sudden, when there was one team, many teams had like many draws and had to pick the random draw, and there was a lot of incest when it was picked when it was handout pick. And I think there was a lot. I think one of the nations got pissed off and they're trying to appeal. It just there's no structure of how to deal with to try to to stamp it to get proper official communication out quickly, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, but it just seems that in CAF there's no structure from the top to playing level. There's no structure. Yeah, you've got a president, you've got a footballing body, but we don't seem to be, well, one of a better word, interested in their confederations.
Yeah.
Teams, players, and tournaments. But I'll give you some more breaking news, Cal. Don't know if you heard this, but Scotland's pre-World Cup warm-up friendlies are against Japan and Curacao.
Okay, yeah, I think I did see that the other day, actually.
Hamdens, where you go?
Huh. Reese, are you talking from your mobile phone?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're on your phone now, Reese.
Yeah, I've switched to my phone.
I think
You've got your volume up now. Go on. Yeah.
I think he's maybe having internet problems here in West Indian today.
Unfortunately, he is. Yeah, he's having a bit of internet problems there. Yeah, but as you were saying, yeah, I just don't know. I think there's so much. The CAF needs to do so much. I think
CAF just needs a big major overhaul, in my opinion. Root out the rotten dead wood and getting fresh blood that want to actually make a go of the Confederation. They want to get it back to world stage status. That want to have fair play, fair tournaments, referees being trained properly to the highest standard that we can afford, and fair games, and none of this marred and controversy, because at the end of the day, that's what the AFCON final will be known for of 2025-26 will be the 15 minute penalty decision.
Yeah, it's going to be. It will be, because I was just looking at the last World Cup, with all the referees. I think I'm going to be right with this. I don't think any of them. There was no referees from CAF got to referee in any of that not from the knockout stage. Not really, not even one. So it just shows. Pretty much, I think it goes. I think that was it. I think they were all there. Yeah, no, there was no referees for any of the. I don't even for the group. I don't think even for the group stage as well. Actually,
not even for officials or lines people or VAR people. Anybody that was from CAF. But the only time that they've had major representation at a World Cup was obviously back in 2010, when it was held in South Africa.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it. It was only only one referee from Gambia, Algeria, and South Africa were there to officiate in the groups in the World Cup, World Cup, but none of them were not picked after that. They usually pick the officiating for the rest.
Yeah.
So there has been a bit of a downturn completely. As I said, CAF only had what? I think the CAF only had had at least none of the referees did not referee any games, only in the group stages. And I think the most of it were all on the the knockout stage for fourth officials. That's pretty much it. So it just shows, CAF referees at the moment have still got to officiate, needs to be better handled. So I just feel like there's so much that needs to be done, and I think it needs to change anyway. Listen, I have to give credit to Sadio Mane, because he's the only one who had the guts to tell the team to go out. Because I know there's been a lot of criticism about Mane's discipline for the last couple of years, but I'm hopefully now. Yeah.
Sorry, gents.
It's all right. I take it it's quite gusty weather in West Lothian, is it, Reese?
Aye, the weather's shite. Like it's just shite. Aye.
We'll go with that. Podcast, guys, you get weather reports as well, straight from the horse's mouth. Let's just say.
Aye, it keeps disrupting my connections on my PC. it just randomly dropped connection. I don't know. Wait, that's twice it's done that, and I haven't got a fucking clue.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Which
I
is
think,
really annoying.
yeah. I think we could end this off with the AFCON. I think there's a lot that needs to be dealt with, and I think.
What was I saying last? What did I say last?
I think he was talking about Brahim Diaz of him.
Yeah, you were actually.
Yeah.
Brahim Diaz. That's it. Yeah, I think Brahim Diaz, considering what just happened, I think he was caught in two minds. Either he's going to be the hero and he's going to score, or he's going to find a way to give the ball back to the goalkeeper. And if it does go in, then the question is, do Morocco
do a Bielsa and give them a goal?
Yeah. I wonder if Diaz had decided not in the circumstance and he didn't pass the ball back, he just shot. I don't think Morocco give the goal. I think the referee immediately just blows the whistle.
Yeah.
And then you would have had even more violence. You would have had a proper kickoff. Argentina, Germany, 2006 by any chance? Anyone remembers that?
Yeah. Quite well, yeah.
I think there's elements to that. I think going for glory really has an impact as well. But like, there is one thing I do find strange though. I don't know if it's just Morocco, if their heads went or there was something else wrong, but how did Senegal go from not looking like scoring for about 10, 15 minutes before, but even before the penalty situation, they were not doing much in terms of attack, to then score 2 minutes conveniently into extra time? Like, it was a very fast goal. Where's that coming from? I know it's a long range effort and all that, but like, still, where's that coming from? Because that was, it's nice to see the right team won. It would have been nice to have just seen a tournament decided over who was actually the better team, the best defense versus the best attack. But instead, we got 3 awkward moments in the game that we didn't need it, and it has ruined the respect of African Cup of Nations. It has ruined the AFCON. It was the same with the Copa America. Like, there was a lot of dubious shit with Colombia when Colombia got to the final, and then conveniently Argentina just were able to just sweep them aside. Colombia were one of the best teams in the tournament, and then get to the final. Argentina are a very strong team. But if you actually look at that final, and I watched that final live, Argentina struggled with Colombia. They proper struggled to break them down. Richard Rios, who was my young player of the tournament, and I basically was like, at that point throughout the whole tournament, I was like, one game, I like this guy. Second game, this guy's great. Third game, right, Man United, sign this guy. Like, I was just completely obsessed with Richard Rios after the 2024 Copa America. Still am.
So I think we've got AFCON. Sorry, Reece. I think we've got AFCON this year again in December. Next year.
No, it'll be next year in 27 and before
Then
to a
it's
4
going
years
to
cycle.
be 4 years, just like the World Cup and the
And Euros, yeah.
Euros and the World Cup. So
Yeah.
I think it's back-to-back tournaments for AFCON, where you had that silly referee with his timekeeping, and then you've got this referee, conveniently his first major international game for AFCON. It happens to be in the tournament. Not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
Saying that in case anyone's listening.
Well,
but, like, it's very, very dubious and suspicious, and
yeah,
it's good to see the right team won, but it's also a shame for Moroccans who actually were enjoying the tournament, watching their team play well, get to the final, but then they still had decisions along the way, but it was never as bad until the actual tournament final.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely as well. Yeah, the next African Cup of Nations is going to be in 2027 in June. Next one in 2027 in June and July in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania in between June and July 27. And then
at least we can say none of them are making the final, so at least we know there'll be no strange decisions for them.
And then the 28 is not being bidded yet. It's the 2 nations have been bidded already. Is Ethiopia, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And the trio host as well. So Yeah, I think even Morocco would lead the candidate in the proposed bids, but I just don't see it happen after what happened. So,
I wanted to go back. I wanted to go to Cape Town. I wanted to be in South Africa.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if they do get the bid, I think it will, because Botswana and Namibia have never hosted it. So this is a joint bid between these three nations. So
that would be nice as well.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Would be nice as well. Right, let's move it away from African Cup of Nations. Let's go on to Crystal Palace as well. What a week it has been for the Eagles completely after all the controversy last week when Oliver Glasser came out sounded very angry, with the Matt Gray deal to Man City, couldn't do nothing out of his hands. And then he threw Steve Parish and the board under the bus as well with his post-match press conference, post-match match interview as well, and the press conference as well. Also, the news came out with John Philippe Mateta. We understand that he wants to leave Crystal Palace after he was linked with Juventus, which is not going to happen as much. He's been linked with other clubs around Europe as well. And then Glasner came out yesterday, that he's still committed to Palace alongside Parish after having positive talks. Guys, I don't know where to go with this. Palace is so much in a crisis where they've had to sell Eze to Arsenal last summer, and also now Matt Gray to Man City for £20 million. Everything's just been capitulated since with everything since they won the FA Cup and the Community Shield. What's your take on this? And do you think Glasner had the right to call out the Palace board, especially to sign Brendan Johnson from Spurs as well, but they don't like to spend big on players like they do, but when the players are going, what does Palace do now? Because especially, is that job is a poison chalice who the next manager is going to come in?
Yeah,
I don't think it's a poison chalice. I don't think it's a poison chalice. My take on Palace is, we're 100% sure Oliver Glasner did have enough in the tank to criticise in that way. It's up, Doug. He absolutely has got the right. I mean, he's the most successful manager. But the selling of players, first they sold Elise, and then they won the cup. Then they sell Eze, they win the Community Shield. It's almost as if they're banking that if they sell their best players, they'll rejuvenate the squad, then they'll win stuff. But that's not always going to happen. They've really got this wrong. Mateta, I can understand that he wants out for circumstances. It's not his fault, but like the way that Palace are being run now, even he's like, well, two of my colleagues who speak the language of me understand how I communicate. They've now left. I'm now stuck with a situation where my manager's now leaving, who's actually backed me since day one, when I could have been a bench warmer to Odsonne Edouard, which would have been a criminal act anyway, because he's crap. But he's backed Mateta. Mateta's become one of the best strikers in the Premier League, rightly so. And it gives you Raul Jimenez vibes of this guy who was the best striker outside the traditional bigger clubs. But in reality, he's earned that right to go to a bigger club. Yes, Juventus were linked. They've decided to go for El Nesri on loan, which is just rewarding failure. So it's just even funnier. But will that allow another club to come in? AC Milan also wanted Mateta, but they backed out in favour of Füllkrug just because of the difference of transfer fees and valuations. But if I was them, I would be like, okay, we'll still go for him. I would make the move. I don't think any Premier League club's going to make a move for Mateta. Not because he doesn't deserve it, but I think the reason why nobody else will sign him is because Palace will deem too much value because of the amount of goals he's scored, the big game player he's become. And then the end result is, where does he actually go? Because does he fit in Manchester United? Maybe, because Man United need a goal scorer, but that's another big chunk of money spent on a striker when it's midfield and defence. Does he go to Aston Villa? Unlikely, because they've just signed Tammy Abraham, and apparently they want Mateta, but I don't know how they can fit in Watkins, Abraham, and Mateta unless they go to a two-striker system, which makes sense because Emery's done that before. I don't think he goes to Chelsea. Even though Chelsea have got an abundance of strikers, I just don't think he goes there. I don't think he goes to Arsenal because they've got Gabriel Jesus, who's better than Victor Yokozuna. So it doesn't make any difference.
Newcastle. What about
Newcastle have got Voltemada and they've got Vissa.
I know, but if one of them gets injured, Newcastle's very thin on the ground.
I don't know, because they've got a lot of attacking numbers. I think the best choice for him to do is to go abroad. Unless he can force his way into a starting lineup of one of those Premier League clubs, I don't know. You know who should take a gamble on him, just to wind up Palace fans? Everton should make a move for him.
Everton?
Yeah, I think Everton should make a move, because Everton are relying on Beto, who's more like Beta, and they don't really have any good strikers anyway, whereas they need a striker. And I agree with that. He doesn't get into Liverpool squad either. I agree with that, Doug. He doesn't get into your squad. Even though, actually, when you play a diamond, he would actually be more effective for you than Alexander Isak. Like, Isak, I think in terms of effectiveness, Isak is not more effective than Mateta. And I'm not saying I'm not saying Isak is a bad player, by the way. I'm just talking about actual effectiveness in the league. But, like, great player. You've got the quality. If you play a diamond, Mateta's still a good striker for rotation, but I think it's abroad.
What about Sunderland then, Reece?
Can't afford them.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because they went on a
he's asking for a bigger wage. He's asking for a bigger wage, Mateta. Especially he wants to, because of the goals he scored probably since he joined the club after signing permanently. The thing is, will that break Sunderland's wage barrier, or they're trying to keep the club sustained? Because yes, they might have good, but they have an ownership there. But the problem is, it's like Leeds, for example. You can't, would Leeds take him on a bigger rate? No, we wouldn't, because his wage is going to be so high, because he has, he has proven so he's got into the French squad, but he's got all talent there. But the thing is, what do you do? So I just don't think,
I just look at it, and if you want to establish a team and you want to get better, you've got to have a manager and the players who actually shows up. Because let's be real, Mateta's so crucial to them that they have to build a good team around him. If he leaves, they go from fighting for Europe and fighting for trophies to relegation candidates. If they don't sign any good players next summer, Crystal Palace will be competing for just avoiding the relegation zone. But they're in shit's creek. Not the TV show that subsequently isn't as good anymore, but the actual reality itself. Well, so who knows? But I do think, just because it's a new owner and that David Moyes is their manager, he likes a big target man up front. He likes to build a team around it.
Yeah,
that can actually score goals. I would go for it. I would honestly go for it. I would be like, let's see how much they can offer. Sign Jack Grealish permanently in the summer, because they should. And then, yeah, they've already got the right flank sorted. Go for Mateta, and then get some midfielders. If they do that, Everton are in the top 7 next year.
Yeah, I back that one. I think Grealish is out for the injury, but I think he's most suited now to Everton. I think that Everton will sign him permanently because they've seen enough of what he can do. I just think, like I said, teams like Sunderland and Leeds would not afford him. Spurs, I don't know, because Spurs are trying to go, that Solanke up front, and they do need the goals anyway, especially at the moment. Because
if Glasgow goes to Spurs, though, could we see Mateta be like?
Well, it could go to Spurs, because even though, and we're digressing here, but even though Spurs beat Dortmund 2-0 with a very depleted squad, I have to say, in the Champions League in midweek. If they lose today to what is it? No,
Burnley.
Is it West Ham?
No, Burnley.
If they lose to Burnley, today, I can see all the pressure being put back on Frank, even after having a good week in the Champions League.
Oh, the pressure's still on. The pressure's still on.
And but even more. But I reckon if he loses this game or even draws it, he could be sacked by Monday morning.
I don't think the Dortmund result would have really made much of a difference anyway. Dortmund are one of the most informed teams in Europe in terms of scoring goals, even though they're managed by an absolute dud. I don't think it really matters. I think purely it's the league performances because Tottenham, the fact is they're still, 15th in the league, which is disgusting. Like, Tottenham should not even be in that position.
No.
It's the same as last season. For all the fans who are saying, oh, he's better than Postecoglou,
No.
I think they better actually give him an apology. Because, yes, they were very catastrophic under him as well, but they weren't this bad.
No. I mean...
Like, it's so bad for Tottenham. It feels like Tottenham before Martin Yol came in. You know what I mean? Like, it feels that level.
We all know that Post really cut his teeth in the SPL with Celtic. Before that, nobody really heard of him because he was managing in Japan and the Oceanias. So he was a bit of an unknown quantity. So he came in, cut his teeth, got his move to Tottenham. That didn't work out. Got his move to Nottingham, which was an absolute disaster. And now he's in the world.
He's in South Korea
with no prospects, but South Korea.
It's funny you mentioned Forest. It's funny you should mention Forest because Forest and Watford this week made two signings that I'm baffled by.
Yeah.
So Watford have signed Eduardo Bove from Roma, which really, like, a quality Italian player who's had a bit of a tough time as well, because he's got a heart monitor on him because he had that problem on the pitch. He's playing for Watford, which is bloody mental. And then Nottingham Forest pulled off the weirdest transfer of the year by signing a player on loan with an obligation to buy from a club who's already got a loan obligation to buy for his parent club, Lorenzo Luca.
Okay, yeah. Oh.
Which is mental. And he's like, Lorenzo Luca's a very good striker. He deserves more time in the Italian step. He doesn't get a lot of it. But he is not a Forest type player. Like, that's a bad move for him. He's really let himself down.
Yeah, very bad move as well. I just don't get it because I was baffled by it because I know because the weird thing is because somehow on the same day, Napoli signed him on a permanent basis, and then he got moved to Nottingham Forest. That's just baffling. Yeah,
like for me, like that. You go to Udinese, have him permanently. Then he goes to Napoli. Obligation was 34 million.
Yeah,
and then now he's at Forest for an obligation for 40 million.
So if he performs well at Forest, they fork out 40 million for him.
Yeah,
no, it's an obligation regardless.
It's an obligation option to buy. Yeah.
Then they'll buy him permanently. Then they'll loan him out to somebody else.
I think they'll keep him. He's a good striker. The problem is how's he going to fit? They'll have to play him anyway over Taiwanese, who's actually been a much better player for them. But like, I think they've got this wrong. They didn't need a striker.
I suppose as well. I suppose a bit of transfer news that's been baffling me and it's been going around.
To answer your question, Doug, it's Lorenzo Luca, the Italian striker who's joined Nottingham Forest, who's joined Forest from Napoli after being there from Udinese.
And this could easily come off, but do you remember David Fofana at Chelsea? Well, seemingly, for the last couple of weeks now, it's been rumoured that Celtic are trying to get him on a loan deal.
Listen, that boy didn't do nothing at Burnley, and he made the biggest mistake of going to Chelsea. And I just don't see him working at Celtic. I really don't.
Yeah, me neither. Crazy as well, though, is I know Doug's not happy with us because I put in a group chat with him last night, and he actually, for the first time, Doug ever put in an angry emoji on a chat I put in when I said to a Spurs fan who's in our group, Andy Robertson and talks to Liverpool. Doug was pissed off.
Do you know what?
True,
Yeah.
the rumours are true.
I'm not gonna mock it though. But I'm not going to mock Doug for that because I can understand why you'd be angry. I mean, look at Gabriel Heinze. He's a set piece coach for fucking Arsenal, the traitor scumbag. But
Yeah, I know.
like, I can understand Doug being angry if Robertson does go to Liverpool because Liverpool are already shite at left back anyway. Because Kirkes has been an absolute flop.
Well, me and Carl was saying this while we were waiting on you joining us this morning, Reece, with your PC being a bit of a clown. At the last minute, we were chatting about this transfer, and I said that I didn't feel like Andy Robertson was playing as the Andy Robertson of old at Liverpool under Arne Slot. Yeah, he gets game time, but for me, not as much as he's had in previous seasons under you know who.
Well, actually, Doug,
he's the age.
Well, Doug has come out actually with yeah.
I expected that. Yeah, he's been great recently. But up until recently, he's been a flop.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Kirkes, up until very, very recently, hasn't had the best start to his Liverpool career from his, I think it was £40 million move from Bournemouth.
Michael, I get your point as well. If Forest are relegated, they won't be in a position to sign a player, but bear in mind, this is a Premier League club getting relegated. It's not like a Serie A club getting relegated. Exactly. Forest have got the money to do it.
Yeah, Forest will have to do it, and they will do it no matter what where division it
is.
And they have to. They have to do it.
Yeah.
They can't get out of this.
Even if they get relegated, they'll be able to afford them with the parachute payment.
Exactly. And also the owner himself, Marinakis, he'll just throw money. Like it's yeah.
Yeah. Watch him splash, like he'll splash like 80 million in the summer just to get out of the championship, which won't happen, which will be funny.
It will be funny as hell, actually. Just looking at some other news as well. Alexander Zinchenko is still in talks with us over his exit. Ajax are trying to sign the Ukrainian international on a permanent deal. So he's still on loan at Nottingham Forest. There's no break.
Not worked out for him at Forest, to be honest, at all.
I'm just about to finish off what was going to finish. So Zinchenko has caught it on a season-long loan with Nottingham Forest, where there's no break clause in his deal, but Forest want to cut his loan short. Once Ajax get the green light, they'll proceed his medical. He will finalize be on a 6-month contract. That's all. Yeah. So
Zinchenko's an interesting one because again, Mikel Arteta and his, as I say on the Weekly Steel Chair, pretty much every episode, he's got a blue chew for a reaction. So Zinchenko is already the biggest crybaby in world football. We know this. We've seen it, like how much of a dick he actually is. But it hasn't worked for him at Arsenal. He's been replaced by centre-backs in his position that he's not even a natural player for anyway, which is hilarious. And I'm thinking, where does he go? And if he does go to Ajax, he's not even a guaranteed start for them anyway, unless he takes Kenneth Taylor's position and he goes back into midfield. But nobody really pays attention to Zinchenko as a midfielder anymore anyway because he's been shunted to left back because he's just a horrible football player.
Yeah.
So he should honestly just do what Carragher said about Casemiro, which he got wrong. Just retire before football leaves him.
Other news as well coming from West Ham. West Ham one outgoing as well as one incoming as well. So also Guido Rodriguez is set to join Valencia on West Ham for only clause fee, and West Ham will be one incoming from Fulham, Adama Traore, to join West Ham as well. Again,
ooh, that's a good move, and I can see why they're doing that because of Oscar Bob.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's a brilliant signing from Fulham.
If they do get from us, I think they will be.
Yeah. Adama Traore will flourish under Nuno Espirito Santos.
Until he gets sacked.
Until he gets sacked, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, obviously until he gets sacked. But
give it 2 weeks.
But if by some miracle, and it's going to be a miracle now, he keeps West Ham in the Premier League.
He's been terrible for Roma, Doug. Tsimikas has been awful for Roma.
Yeah, actually.
He's just as bad as Evan Ferguson. And Michael saying Millwall scored against Charlton and Middlesbrough scored against Preston.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's it. So yeah, it's 1-0 for the both teams who are top of the table.
That's good news if it stays that way for real Wrexham boys. If we can get a win this afternoon.
Who's playing?
We've got QPR away.
User getting beat.
Oh, thanks, Reese.
He's going to be honest with you, man. He's not going to sugarcoat it. Latest scores, lads, in League One. Stockport have taken the lead at Cardiff City. It's still 0-0 in the Yorkshire Derby. Yeah, I know.
Oh, Nathan's going to be angry losing to Manchester City Light. Oh, God, he's going to be angry.
Yeah, and in League Two, Notts County taking the lead against Crewe Alexandria as well. So those are the latest scores at the moment across the lunchtime kickoffs, which we'll keep an eye on. Yeah, let's see some other news as well. A big news for Everton last night. James Garner signed a new 4.5-year deal at the club. He joined from the summer of 2022. He's played every game in all competitions so far. He's signed a 4.5-year extension at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. I think that's a good move.
But delusional Man United fans are only obsessed with academy players, not the actual club. Which, to be fair, there's nothing wrong with that. The academy is important. But they're like, just bring academy players. Oh, James Garner's going to come back. He's going to play for us. I'm like, James Garner's not good enough to play for Man United, for fuck's sake. Like, Everton is his level, rightly so, and good for him. He actually recognised that. Jesus wept. Like, if there's any midfielders I want to see United re-sign as bloody Angel Gomez, but like James Garner's just not good enough. But there was one other good bit of business this week as well. It's not a permanent deal; it's a loan deal, but it's a good signing. Mark Leonard from Birmingham to Hearts is actually a decent move.
Yeah, apparently everyone on social media, from what I was hearing yesterday, is raving about this guy. Like,
Former Hearts Academy, so he's gone through the system. So, you know,
and it's a box-to-box midfielder as well, which you really need.
Which you really need because Cammy Devon is now out injured. And I think Cammy Devon might leave this summer as well. So I think this was always going to be at some point that we might need to improve, especially now we got Tony Bloom and the Athletic and the Data Analytics there now. I think this was the right move. So yeah.
The only thing is, though, I still think you need another permanent midfield signing to come in January. Maybe you sign Mark Leonard in the summer permanently. I mean, you never know, but I still think you need a permanent signing to come in just as reassurance. I feel like a loan deal isn't always enough.
No, absolutely. Also, news from Manchester United, guys. I know that this was not yesterday. Casemiro is going to leave at the end of the season. Right decision for to invest in that midfield now.
Yeah, 100%. We need to invest. I know we sound stock records every week, but I think Casemiro's made the right decision for him. He's made the right decision for his family to retire at the end of the season. He wants to go on his terms and not potentially be forced out of the club by a transfer or a deal that would be meaningless for him and his family. You've got to remember that we got Casemiro when he was playing at Real Madrid. We got him for there. And he's been quite a servant for us over the years. Yes, in latter terms, it's probably not been his finest era on the pitch, but certainly when he first came in, he was great for us. And I think that he's hopefully going to get the send-off that he deserves coming into the season.
Yeah, I think so. I do wonder where he goes, though. Like, does he just decide, you know what, I've done everything I can in the game, should I just retire? I don't know. I do wonder what he does.
Well,
5 years too late is accurate, Doug.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But you never know. I mean, he might go back home, like all players are seemingly doing these days to end their careers at their boyhood clubs or hometown clubs.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but I'm pretty sure the Brazilian club he played for, I think, was it not Cruzeiro?
Yeah, Cruzeiro,
Cruzeiro can't afford him.
No.
The only clubs I think in Brazil that could genuinely afford him is Flamengo and Palmeiras.
Well,
Maybe Botafogo, but I don't know.
Unless he's taking a huge wage cut, you just never know. And it's West Ham won Sunderland 0. Breaking news from Mr. Doug himself. And it was Somerville with the goal. Thanks, Doug.
Yep, Christopher Somerville, former Leeds United player, scored the opening. So a good header from the box after from that goal, Jack Bowen with a cross, and Somerville headed it in, and it was the high centre of the goal. It's 1-0 to West Ham at the moment. Yeah, after 15 minutes.
Don't Spurs not want Somerville?
There's been rumors about that one, and I'm going to come to I have got a Leeds rumor, and this happened pretty much yesterday that Wolves rejected the initial bid from Leeds for Jørgen Strand Larsen. Leeds, the value was unconfirmed, but Wolves believe to value at 40 million. Wolves are content for him to stay after he did sign a permanent deal last summer as well. Also, not in the Forest, also Crystal Palace have made inquiries as well. So it's interesting because Strand Larsen wants to stay in the Premier League if he leaves Wolves, but does Wolves have to just cut their losses now? Because if they're going to go to the Championship, they're right on prepare to get, is he a Leeds player? That's a good question. I think we do need the quality up front to have with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, especially Okafor as being hit and miss, which I'm going to say. So, yeah.
It's an interesting one. I'm not sure. I think if you do sign Strand Larsen, at least it's an improvement. You're willing to spend to stay in the league, which is important.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know. But at least if you do sign, at least you're willing to spend to stay in.
I think it's a question because I think Joe Peru doesn't want to leave. I think he's been, since he's been had a couple of game time recently, there's been okay, he might not want to leave. I think he wants to fight for his place. So there's a question of that. If Peru leaves, we will get Strand Larsen, but it's a question of how that domino effect will play because I think,
ever since you've changed to the back three and you're playing a two-man striker system, you do need the numbers in attack, so I suppose it would help.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well, I think, like I said, Bernate, he will probably make his debut at some point. He's just, I think Danny Farker did say in his press conference on Thursday, he just wants to make sure he's patient to get to know the system. I know Gabby Goodman is a doubt for the game against Everton on Monday, but Stakis should be back in action. I think also Jacobiel should be back in 2 to 3 weeks' time. I think Longstaff is now is on the bench as well. But we were surprised about Celtic's approach with Joe Peru, for Joe Peru because of the connections he has at Rangers. We have with Rangers, so I don't think I can't see him going to Celtic. It's going to happen, but I know Jack Harris has joined Fiorentina on loan now, which is the option to buy for £6 million. So he's not on loan for the rest of the season. So so we'll see what happens with some more link rumors coming up. But there's not much. I think the striker's position up front is the one we need is going to be questioned as well. Or do we just leave it till the summer? But as I said, we did make a bid yesterday. It was reported in the Telegraph. So, we'll see if that deal could happen before the end of the transfer window. Time will tell with that one. But, it was around about £33 million from Leeds United with the offer with further £6 million and potential add-on. So that was what it was claimed.
I think if you just offer 35 million outright, Wolves will accept it. No add-ons. Just here's 35 million straight out the bat.
Yeah, I think it could be as well too. Actually, if that happened as well, so because I think they will. Let's keep an eye also with the current scorelines as well. It's still 1-0 at the London Stage to West Ham as well. It is now still 1-0 at Middlesbrough from Middlesbrough against Preston. Millwall still leading 1-0 at Charlton Athletic. It's still 1-0. For Stockport to counter at Cardiff City, still it's 0-0 between Huddersfield and Bradford City. Plymouth Argyle, Luton Town still 0-0. It's now 1-0 to Old Athletic. They've scored as well. A goal from them as well after 11 minutes on the table as well. So Pret the goal scorer for the captain Pret for Oldham scored as well. So that is the latest scores at the moment. But I just seen here, and let's look back in the Champions League this past couple of days as well. What a huge win for Arsenal at Inter Milan on Tuesday night as well, 3-1. Really good result, guys. I know, Reece, the big game tomorrow between Arsenal and Manchester United. It was a lot of changes for Arsenal, but they got the 3 points and they qualified already now.
Yeah, they qualified top of the pile, didn't they? Arsenal's top of the pile. And the funny thing is, if you're talking about Champions League terms, Spurs are in like 4th position or 5th position or something in that league. That is crazy, considering the squad depth that we don't have, considering the rough times they've had under Thomas Frank. But your worry is if you go on a big run in a European competition for a team like Spurs, your weak form is going to suffer. No matter whether it's due to financial constraints, changing ownership, whatever, your weak form is going to suffer. And we're seeing that this season because in the league, in the Premier League, Spurs are not firing on all cylinders under Thomas Frank at all. But when it comes to Europe, it's a role reversal. They can have the most depleted squad in the European League, and they can still go out and beat for one of a better phrase, and Reece will agree with me, German giant in Borussia Dortmund.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely as well. I also have to say, what a disappointing week for Man City. Not just losing, not just. I know you want to laugh at this, Stefan, but losing to Boulder Glip 3-1. And I have to admit, when I told you guys the scoreline of the other night, I thought, is this a dream? Is this a joke? And then we asked, what's it?
I was like, wow! I mean, we all know how good Bodo Glimt have become in the last 3-4 seasons. Being one of the top teams, if not the top team in Norwegian football. And they can take on someday with the might and the money power of Manchester City, and they can send them home crying all the way back to Manchester on that plane.
Well, they had to pay 300. They had to reimburse 300 fans who went to that game for that embarrassing defeat as well. So they had to
pay. That's nothing to a money-making club like them.
I know it isn't. I know it isn't.
And then a couple of days before that, reverse psychology worked again.
Beat Man United, I know.
2, Man City 0. And Reece said, and I quote, reverse psychology works again.
Actually, going back with Casemiro was at Sao Paulo. That was his first club.
I might go back there.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah. Aye, that would be a good one. Because,
and of course,
but it's just what a week for Man City to have back-to-back losses, lose to your rivals, and then losing away into the Arctic Circle. That's the worst thing you ever do as well.
No.
Not just that as well, but it's against a club as well where the loss is madness. Like, Bodo Glimt actually are a really odd team to play against.
We got a goal at the Aku Stadium. Huddersfield Town have taken the lead, and it is Marcus Highness who scored in the 23rd minute in actually Man's debut.
Well done, Mr. Manning, you've got a goal.
He's still crap.
We know, but we've called him the lifeblood of knowledge for the last few months on the championship review because he was. And then they switched it off.
He did as well. Yeah, just looking at the results, look at the table. Newcastle beating PSV 3-0. And Marseille, Liverpool.
That was a good result for Newcastle. They needed that.
They needed that, especially. Yeah, they did need that as well. And look at the results. Bayern Munich beating USG 2-0, and there was no shock that other than the building Glint Man City was a shock. It was not surprising. I'm just saying, and PSG losing at Sporting 2-1, that was a bit of a surprise as well.
There's a weird thing about PSG as well. It's like this time last season, they were on course for and they eventually scored 80 goals as a trio. Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and Desardui, I think it was the right winger. When they scored 80 goals between them. They scored 27.
That's a low number. That's a huge drop.
It's definitely the change in the for them. Like, it's not much of a change in terms of like the attacking personnel, but they have had some injuries in those attacking positions. But like PSG have really struggled against low blocks this season compared to last season. But the thing as well that's went against them massively is they'll regret selling Donnarumma.
Yeah.
The way they went about it, like they'll massively regret it because they've made money for him, but they've now decided, oh, by the way, we're now going to. I don't know if this is someone telling Luis Enrique to do this, or Enrique's decided, well, this is a good thing to do. But he's basically said whoever's the best goalkeeper in training that week will play matches, and I'm like, what's the point of having a number one goalkeeper then?
Yeah.
Like, you've signed Chevalier to be your number one just to say, oh, we're now going to just play goalkeepers depending on how training goes. That really doesn't. That's not good for continuity or consistency.
No,
which is really weird. But PSG as well, like, they've also had it really weird because they exited the cup as well against FC Paris.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
their main rivals, really. I mean, FC Paris, just to give a bit.
That's more Marseille. That's more Marseille. But like, it's just a local rival. But it's still embarrassing the way they look.
Like got next to each other in the stadium. So
yeah.
But FC Paris wasn't in Wigan 4 or 5 seasons ago. They've
not been in the top flight in decades.
No, I know they were bought over by like a big consortium of billionaires, and now
even Red Bull's invested in them as well. So yeah,
which means they're not going to compete for leagues.
No. And Michael, I see your comment about City couldn't adapt to Bordeaux's plastic pitch, but I'm sorry, when you've got multi-million-pound stars like Manchester City have, grass, plastic, Astro, I don't care. You should be able to adapt to surfaces.
I think it's nothing to do with the plastic pitch.
No.
Yeah,
because they have the best plastic pitches that money can buy in terms of training facilities. I think plain and simple, those players have finally hit rock bottom. There's a penalty to Sunderland, by the way.
Okay, keep an eye on that one.
I actually think those City players have finally hit that level of rock bottom, hit that wall under Pep where they finally cannot go anywhere. And I think this will be Pep's swan song will be this summer. Like, this is definitely this summer. Like, he's done.
I think he's gone. I think he's going to go this summer. I just don't see him there beyond next season, back in the summer. I really don't.
No, I don't. I mean, the amount of times he's been asked in a press conference about his tenure and about his contract, and the amount of times he's gone, oh God, how many times do I have to tell you? I have a contract to the end of the season or whatever it is. I have a contract. I'm going to see my contract. End of. That's what he's like in
This is also his longest job as a manager as well. I mean, 3 years at Bayern, 4 years at Barcelona, 7 years at Manchester City. Actually, no, it's longer than that now, isn't it? It's what, 9 years? 9 years, sorry.
10 years. It's 10
years.
Yeah.
It's his longest run. It's his longest run, regardless of the charges and all that nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah, regardless of all those charges and all that nonsense, he's still transformed football in the Premier League. It's not my favourite style of football, but he's still done that. Like,
yeah,
you can tell that he is like, he needs something fresh. Wherever he goes, I want to see him properly challenge himself. Get a club with different types of budgets, different types of style, and just see. Oh, sorry, it was a penalty to West Ham. It came up as Sunderland. It's not penalty to West Ham. But I think they missed it.
No, they scored it. West Ham.
They scored it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Pep, here's one for you. Go up to the Arctic Circle, take over Bodo Glint, and make them into a footballing dynasty / European powerhouse rather
But what I want to see, he
No,
always gets compared. He always gets compared to clubs like to. He says that he can only people only say that he can only manage a club with big transfer budgets. They give him the job, therefore he has to adapt to the expectations based on the big amounts. Go and do what Mourinho did. If he can do what Mourinho did, then people will actually say he's in the greatest of all time conversation.
yeah.
So, like, could he go and? I mean, he's already succeeded with Bayern Munich. God forbid, could we see him go and take over at Dortmund and take Dortmund to the league? That would be the wildest thing, because how bad they've been for the longest time. Could he go to Serie A? Could he take a club like Roma, or could he take a club like, I mean, Milan are cooking under Allegri, but could he do that? Like, rejuvenate a giant in that way? Could he take Lazio to a league title? Could he go to Portugal? Could he take a club like Benfica back to opposite to Mourinho at Porto? Could he break the Benfica European curse and win the European trophy? Could he take Benfica to a Europa League? Like, could we see him do all things like that? Like, I want to see him try and go, right, I've done the big clubs and I've won everything. Can I win it with a club that are still a big club by name, but aren't right now in terms of acting like one? I want to see him do that, where he can't spend 100 million quid on fullbacks every summer. But let's see him actually revive a team like this, where it's actually like, all right, mate, you've done it now. Now you've proven it. Okay, now we really can't say you're not in the greatest conversation anymore. Yeah. You're in it for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he is technically, for what he's done to football, for all he's won and teams he's transformed. Mm-hmm. But it's with money. I want to see him try it with a club where the budget is like 60 million. Like, where it's really hard for him. Now he has to go and find the players and coach what he's got and show that he is still a good coach as well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think I could that as well completely with that one, actually. Yeah. I really do. So Arsenal still the only beaten team in the Champions League with 7 wins and they qualified. Bayern Munich second behind Real Madrid get their win under Abelard after he's a bit of a slow start as well. Liverpool are now in the 4 with Spurs, PSG, West Ham, and Chelsea in the top 8. Man City now down into 11th place, where they could go into the knockout players again as well. And at the bottom of the table, it's all to play for between Bodo Glimt, Benfica, Pascal, USA, Jason, and Ajax could still even get into the play up to the last stage to play as well. Olympiacos, Athletic Club, did win with the team in the bottom half of the playoff. Did win with Krabbeck, did also win against Ajax Frankfurt as well. So all to play for in that last game.
What do you think about Arbelo's comments about Trent telling him that for his own sake he should leave Real Madrid?
Listen, I knew this was going to happen because there's been talks about this, and it just came up on Sky Sports about that. I just feel like Arbelo is not the right man for that job, but Trent, did he make the wrong move? Should he stay at Liverpool? That's something needs to be questioned. And I don't see which club will take him if he's told to leave, because he's not going to be welcome back at Anfield for how it ended.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't start for any of the top Serie A clubs.
No,
he doesn't start for any of them, and he doesn't start for Bayern Munich. So where does he go? It's actually a really strange situation. Could he end up going to a club rival? Could he end up going to Atletico, potentially replacing Marcus Llorente? Like, I wonder where he actually does end up. Like, it's a bizarre situation, and it's his own fault.
Yeah, pretty much. He's kind of his own fault as well with that one. Let's look at the Europa League as well. A huge win for Celtic after beating Bologna away as well. They still have hopes to qualify.
I thought they drew.
They drew, didn't they?
Yeah, they drew 2-2. They bottled it.
2-0, then they drew. Yeah, when I last saw it, I thought there was winning at the time.
It was 2-0, and then Ferguson was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to take control."
Aye, fair play actually to Bologna as well. Aston Villa qualified as well after beating Fenerbahce 1-0 as well.
Yeah.
Disappointing weekend for the week for Nottingham Forest. They lost 1-0 to Sporting Braga after
Yep.
Alisson was sent off, and also an own goal from Ryan Yates as well. And with Morgan Gibbs White missing the penalty 55 seconds before the goal, Braga got the goal as well. Rangers, despite they're not qualified, they're not out of it. They won 1-0 against Ludogorets as well.
They're done. Yeah, the Rangers are officially out.
Yeah, as well. Nothing in the Conference League because we wait for the playoffs as well. So in the table, Leon and Aston Villa have qualified, pretty much automatically qualified as well. Freiburg and Michelin just behind in third and fourth. Sporting Braga are now in fifth with Roma 6th. Fenerbahce 7th, Real Betis 8th. Porto just now after the draw. This looks like they could have won. They could have gone above Real Betis. Nottingham Forest are still in. Can still qualify for the playoffs, despite that it still will be in the playoff spot, regardless which seed they will be in as well. Also, Celtic still have a hope to qualify as well before, because of that Ludogorets and Feyenoord and Basel, Strasbourg, Salzburg, FC Bucharest and Go Eagles still can try to go finish above them as well. So it's all to play for.
I hope you try to do me a favour.
Yeah, we'll see.
You try to beat them.
Yeah, if Utrecht could do a favor, because even though they've been on a losing streak along with Malmo and Maccabi Tel Aviv as well. So so it's all to play for with that one as well. We see the scores, latest score. It's now 2-0 to Middlesbrough against Preston at the moment as well. It's still 1-0 at the Den from Millwall. Still 1-0 for Stockport against Cardiff City. Huddersfield still got that lead against Bradford City. Still 0-0 at home park between Plymouth and Luton Town, and it's still 1-0 to Alderweireld away at Barnet and 1-0 at the middle to Notts County as well. So just to finish off, let's talk about the big game tomorrow, Arsenal against Man United, between you two Man United fans. It's a huge game for both sides, especially for Arsenal, coming off against that win as well against Inter Milan. But for you guys to beat Man City and then under Mike Carrick to play 4 at the back and the 4-3-1, which helped. Where do you see how this game goes tomorrow for you guys?
Oh, I'm going to say again. I'm going to say we lose and hope reverse psychology strikes again. Because I can see that happening. But, yeah, we played great against Manchester City. But the trouble is we've got to sustain that for going forward. And I don't know if we can sustain it until the end of the season. I hope we can, and I hope I'm proved wrong. But something's telling me that we're going to have to use the old reverse psychology again and hope that we can get another good performance under Carrick. And maybe if we start getting good performances, then I'm not saying Carrick will get the job in the summer, because I think he's just interim at best, especially because he's a proven player at Man United. He doesn't know the club inside out. But when it comes to managing a big club, I just don't know. But that's just my opinion. Reece might have another one. But if we keep winning and getting results, then managers that are available and want the job, it might look a slightly more attractive proposition where we end up at the end of the season. Yeah, we're in the top 4 just now, but we've got to really hope that we can sustain that and push on now.
Yeah, absolutely. Reece?
I think we're maybe a wee bit technical. Back.
I don't know. When it comes to tomorrow, I'm not sure. Tomorrow, I'm not sure. I only said reverse psychology next week just because it's just be absolutely funny. Bizarre team. It's set pieces is a major concern. I think Arsenal, they defend with 11 men, they attack with 11 men. It makes it worse to play against. They're still a fraudulent football club. I'm not confident at all. I'm really not confident. But if we do get a result, I still don't care. Carrick should not be in contention for the Man United job. I do not care. Like, he could go unbeaten for the rest of the season, and I still wouldn't give him the job. It's not wise business at all. But I want him to stay involved some way, somehow. I'd like for him to still be involved, but I think for tomorrow it's about. I think the best we can maybe hope for potentially is a draw. This is the fact of the way. So I'm not sure. I think it'll be a draw, and I think that's probably the best you can hope for. But like, it's when if Arsenal score, they defend with 11 men. Like they're stuck like a boxed unit. It's difficult to play against, and it's just not. I don't mind a bit of entertainment, but when you need to win ugly, you win ugly. But Arsenal, the way they win ugly, it's worse than what people say about Simeone's football. It's so much worse. Like, it's the next level of terrorism. Like, this is beyond football terrorism. This is just natural terrorism. I think it'll be a draw. I'm not overly confident.
Yeah, no, I understand that as well. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that game goes tomorrow, gentlemen. Listen, thank you very much for both of you for today as well. I know, Reece, you've been having some technical issues, but I'm glad you've joined us today as well. So I appreciate that as well. But we are going to finish off with this show as it's coming up to 12, back to 1:15. So thank you very much for mentioning as well. Like what Reece has said at the start of the show. Welcome to like, share, and subscribe to the Total Elite Whole Football Podcast as well. So as I said, Stefan will be on tomorrow night with Michael and Annie with the championship review tomorrow with some huge games as well. We'll talk about Friday night's game between Derby against West Brom, including all the big games today between Sheffield United against Ipswich Town later on today as well. So keep an eye on that as well. Myself and Doug should be back on next week to do the 20 podcast. Doug has been off ill as well, so he should be back on next week to do some recording as well. So I should be uploading some recording myself and with Andy Rogers. We talked about his life as well as upbringing as well. We should be uploading next week as well on both his and my channels as well. But like I said, I'll be off tomorrow evening because I've got other priorities. But like I said, thank you very much to everyone for tuning in as well. Listen, all you have a good week. And like I said, we will be back next. Both Stefan and Reece will be back next Saturday at 11:30 here on the Totally Off Football Podcast because I am fortunately back at work next Saturday as well. So yes, everyone have a good week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon. Take care for now. Bye bye.